breaking news. Ukraine crushes Russia's drone factory in Taganrog. On the night of January 13, 2026, Ukraine launched missile strikes on a drone manufacturing plant in Taganrog, located deep in Russia's Rostov region.
And that wasn't all. A number of additional targets were also hit in temporarily occupied territories, according to the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine.
Please subscribe to Defense Reports, your go-to source for timely, in-depth military and defense reports. I'm Alan.
And I'm Arya.
Join us for the latest details, for sharp, no-nonsense breakdown of the latest global defense news, military technology, and strategic development.
And today we're going to do a deep dive into this really significant strike. Our goal is to assess how Ukraine's accelerating ability to hit Russia's manufacturing heartland is fundamentally changing the calculus of this war.
Right, because we're not just talking about an ability getting hit. We're going to focus on why this specific targeted facility called Atlant Aero is so vital to Moscow's ability to wage this conflict.
Exactly. Our mission today is to unpack the sources of the January strike and, place it in the context of Ukraine's growing long-range campaign.
And we also have to contrast it with what Russia's doing at the same time. These massive aerial bombardments aimed squarely at Ukrainian civilians.
It's a stark contrast, and here's the real cliffhanger for you. This isn't just about blowing up factories. This is about hitting a keystone point in Russia's entire UAV production.
The sign of Ukraine's accelerated move towards defense independence, using their own new domestically produced long-range weapons.
That's the strategic shift we're talking about. So, okay, let's unpack the tactical picture. This operation was launched on the night of January 12th.
And it was done using Ukrainian-made missiles.
That's right, precision Ukrainian-made missiles. The target was identified as the Atlant Aero facility in Taganrog, in Russia's Rostov Oblast.
And just so you have a sense of the geography here, Taganrog is about, 40 kilometers, maybe 24 miles east of the border?
That's right. So this is not a frontline strike. This is a deep strike into what Russia would consider its secure rear area.
So how is this confirmed?
Well, the confirmation came pretty quickly. The Ukrainian General Staff confirmed it, and we know it was the SBU's Alpha Special Ops Center, working with the naval forces, who carried it out.
And they reported explosions, a big fire.
A very large fire, yeah.
Sorry.
Reported right in the area of the production buildings.
Now, what about the Russian response? I imagine they were a bit more tight-lipped.
Oh, absolutely. The Rostov governor confirmed an aerial attack was, quote, repelled by air defense. But he very carefully avoided mentioning any specific facility.
No mention of Atlant Aero.
Not a word. And, that kind of silence often tells you more than a press release ever could. It suggests the damage was severe.
It does, because Atlant Aero isn't just any old factory.
No, it's a critical vulnerability. What makes it so important is its role in the full cycle of UAV production.
Okay, tell us more about that. What does full cycle actually mean in strategic terms?
It means they do everything. From the initial research and design to the manufacturing, all the way to testing for the Molniya strike reconnaissance UAVs.
And not just the Molniya, right?
Correct. They also produce really high-value components for the bigger Orion UAVs. So when you hit a full-cycle facility, you're not just taking out an assembly line, you're destroying irreplaceable technical knowledge, specialized machinery, the whole supply chain.
So you're crippling their ability to innovate and replace losses.
Exactly. The claim from the General Staff that this single strike will directly reduce Russia's overall UAV production capacity, well, it's completely founded.
This isn't just frontline attrition. This is hitting the central nervous system of their ability to see the battlefield and strike from a distance.
Absolutely. This war is defined by drones, by surveillance, by targeting.
Yeah.
If you degrade Russia's ability to build systems like Molniya and Orion, you make them blinder. You make every single part of their military operations less effective.
It's a masterclass, really. Hitting the industrial complex where it hurts the most.
And where it's most expensive and time-consuming to fix.
Okay, so now that we've got the tactical picture for Taganrog, let's zoom out a bit. Let's place this in the wider context of Ukraine's deep strike campaign, because it really feels like it's picking up speed.
It absolutely is. This isn't an isolated event. It's part of a very deliberate strategy to weaken Russia's entire military economic potential, not just what's on the front.
To really get that, we should probably look back at some other recent high-value hits.
We should. You just have to go back to November 25th. Ukrainian forces hit the Beriev Tan-TK aircraft repair plant, which is also in Taganrog.
Ah, so they've hit Taganrog before. That earlier strike on the Beriev plant was a huge deal for Russia's strategic aviation programs, wasn't it?
It was devastating, and in some ways, maybe even more crippling than this drone factory strike.
How so?
Because analysis confirmed the likely destruction of the experimental A-60 laser aircraft, which is a one-off asset, but the much bigger loss was the A-100LL testbed aircraft.
The test bed. Okay, for anyone listening who doesn't follow Russian aviation day to day, explain why losing a test bed is so much worse than losing, say, a whole squadron of jets.
Well, that's where the technical details are so important. The A-100LL was the heart of their long-delayed A-50 AWACS replacement program.
AWACS, so that's their eyes in the sky, the flying command posts.
Exactly. They direct everything: air combat, missile defense, reconnaissance. And Russia has been struggling for decades to replace their ancient A-50s. The A-100LL was the one and only platform they had for flight testing all the new radars, all the new digital systems.
You take out the test bed.
And you functionally halt a decades-long development program. You don't just lose one plane, you lose the entire future generation of your airborne command and control.
It's a massive blow.
Yeah.
We're talking about a strategic capability they won't get back for a very, very long time.
It's essentially the final nail in the coffin for a program they've been dragging along since the early 2000s. It forces them to rely on an old, vulnerable fleet.
And it's not just aviation. We saw them hitting oil terminals too, right? In Novorossiysk and Tuapy.
Yes, so you see the pattern. It's a systemic approach. They're targeting aviation, specialized manufacturing, and critical energy infrastructure, all far behind the lines.
What's really fascinating here is the Ukrainian innovation side of this drone war, the way they adapt.
Oh, absolutely. Take that Molniya UAV, the one made at the factory that just got hit.
Yeah.
Ukrainian engineers actually managed to reverse engineer it. They created their own version, the Bliskavka, which means lightning.
That's incredible. So they're turning Russia's own weapons tech against them.
They are, and they're doing it with unbelievable cost effectiveness. The Bliskavka has a 40-kilometer range, an 8-kilogram warhead. But here's the number that should really stick with you.
Go on.
Based on a recent fundraiser, the estimated cost per unit is only about $857.
Wait, get out of here. $857.
That's the number.
You're talking about a sophisticated weapon that costs less than my phone. When you compare that to the Russian systems they're destroying, which cost millions,
Yeah.
this is economic asymmetric warfare.
It completely shifts the industrial equation. This ability to rapidly reverse engineer and then mass produce cheap, effective domestic systems is a massive step towards defense independence.
And it's not just the Bliskavka. It feels like Ukraine is pouring resources into its entire domestic missile program.
That's right, and they're using existing systems in new ways. We know for a fact they're using modified Neptune cruise missiles, which were originally anti-ship for deep ground strikes.
We saw that in Crimea, right? Hitting the Saki Air Base S-400 batteries.
Exactly, and hitting Atlant Aero deep inside Russia with their own missiles, whether it's a Neptune or something else, just reinforces this growing self-sufficiency and long-range strike.
So while they're taking apart the war machine deep inside Russia, they're also keeping up the pressure right on the front lines.
You have to look at them together. These things are strategically linked. The General Staff confirmed simultaneous strikes all across the temporarily occupied territories, or TOT.
And what were they hitting there?
They were focusing on key Russian air defense and command assets. This isn't random, they're clearing the way. In Zaporizhia Oblast, for example, they hit a Tor and a Tunguska air defense system.
So, stand for defense systems.
Yes. But the really critical target there was a P-18-2 Prima radar station. That radar is essential for long-range air surveillance. It's especially good at spotting low-flying cruise missiles.
So you take out that radar.
You blind their whole regional air defense network.
And it was a similar story over in Donetsk Oblast.
That's right. They hit an ammo depot, a troop concentration near Makivka, and another Tor system. The effect is a direct degradation of Russia's ability to defend itself.
It's a cohesive strategy. Degrade the industry in the rear while you poke holes in the air defense umbrella at the front.
Yeah.
It makes everything more vulnerable to the next wave of attacks.
It shows really sophisticated operational planning. The deep strike makes a tactical one easier, and the tactical one creates opportunities for the next deep strike.
But all of this Ukrainian success, unfortunately, is happening against a really grim backdrop. Russia's response seems to be indiscriminate terror against civilians.
The contrast is just night and day. Russia launched its second massive bombardment in only 4 days, right as this was happening.
And the scale is just staggering.
It is. Nearly 300 drones, 18 ballistic missiles, 7 cruise missiles, all fired at 8 regions overnight. President Zelensky said that in the week leading up to January 11th, Russia launched nearly 1,100 strike drones.
It's just a flood of munitions designed to overwhelm any defense.
And the strategy is cruel and clear. Russia is weaponizing winter. They're hitting power stations, heating plants, water facilities, trying to deny people heat and water in the middle of a freeze.
We saw temperatures in Kyiv down to -12°C. That's 10 degrees Fahrenheit. It's a deliberate attempt to create a humanitarian catastrophe.
That is the goal, and the civilian impact is devastating. We have reports of 4 people killed at a mail depot in Kharkiv, 6 wounded in Odessa, major power outages, damaging hospitals and schools.
This contrast, Ukraine's surgical strikes on military targets versus Russia's mass strikes on civilians, it just highlights the urgent need for defense aid.
Absolutely. Ukraine is counting on quicker deliveries of air defense systems from the US and Europe. The recent arrival of 2 Patriot systems was huge, but the volume of these attacks shows the need is constant. The defense of Europe really hinges on Ukraine's ability to defend its skies.
Okay, let's bring all these threads together. What's the final takeaway for everyone listening?
The main tension in this phase of the war is right there. You have Ukraine on one hand, methodically degrading Russia's military production deep behind the lines, hitting choke points like Atlant Aero.
And on the other hand, they're having to fight off these relentless, massive waves of Russian strikes that are just focused on terrorizing civilians.
It really is a technological and industrial war. It's about who can sustain production and who can adapt faster.
And Ukraine's shift towards deep attrition against Russia's war machine is undeniable now.
It really is. The ability to hit a place like Atlant Aero, combined with their own domestic programs like that $800 Bliskavka drone, it shows a huge strategic maturation.
It's about self-reliance. It's about fighting this war on their own terms, not just absorbing punches.
Exactly. And that capacity for independent action is a key factor for the long-term security of all of Europe.
So let's leave you with a provocative thought to mull over. We know Russia's military potential relies heavily on its ability to produce specialized UAVs like the ones made at Atlant Aero.
The full cycle, right there.
Given the confirmed severe damage at that facility and all the other hits on strategic hubs, what are the immediate ripple effects we're going to see on the front lines in the coming weeks? How quickly will Russia's reconnaissance and precision strike capabilities start to break down?
That's the critical question. It's a race between industrial attrition and military need, and we'll be watching it very closely.
You've been listening to Defense Report by Alex and Aria, where we analyze the latest in military strategy, global defense, and advanced weaponry.
Subscribe to Defense Reports, your go-to source for timely, in-depth military and defense reports. We'll catch you next time.